So you have decided to learn Photoshop, and one day you installed Photoshop on your computer and then dared to open it. But Photoshop is a really interesting software for graphic design and photo editing. But the problem is that it has a lot of menus, panels, and tools, which makes it confusing for beginners. That's why I'm here with a completely unique Photoshop tutorial series so you can learn Photoshop without any confusion. Here I will be introducing two different tools and I will show you how to use these tools in real time along with some tips and tricks. In this tutorial, I will show you how we can make the thumbnail for this video itself by using only 5 tools, which are brush tool, transform tool, text tool, and one selection tool, that is rectangle selection tool, along with Gaussian blur filter. So these are some tools you are going to use more than 80% of the time working on Photoshop. Even I am doing the same since the beginning of my Photoshop adventures. So first of all, let me share some interesting tips and tricks that will surely enhance your Photoshop workflow. So the first one is to buy a graphic pen tablet, and trust me, this is going to be the best decision ever, as a pen tablet can make it a lot easier and fun to work on Photoshop. Also, it gives freedom to unleash your creativity. I started with this Huion Inspiroi H430p and now I am using this VK1060 Pro. I will put links to some good graphic tablets from all budget ranges in the description. Moving on to the next trick, which is more of an advice that do not try to learn everything at once. You aren't going to be an expert in a month or two. Just try to stick with some basic tools, learn them first, use them creatively, and get the results you want. So there is a thing with Photoshop, and we are going to discuss in details about this in future videos. So the thing is that you can use different set of tools to get the same result. Even it is my strategy that I use certain tools only and I get the result what I want. And there are tools which I haven't even touched once since the beginning of my Photoshop career, and the reason for that is that I don't need them at all. Now let's open Photoshop, and please keep a pen paper with you because I'm going to share some shortcuts and some tips and tricks which are going to be very useful, so note them down. This is the screen you are going to see when opening Photoshop, and this is the workspace here. So the white area in blue rectangle here is the canvas or artboard. We are going to do all the work on the artboard here. And then these are the tools. We are going to use the tools to do the work. And then these are the tool options. We are going to use the tool options to modify and adjust our tools. And then this is the layers panel. We are going to manage all the layers here. And these are some very important tools right here. We are going to use these tools very frequently. So let's create a new file here. And I have created a lot of YouTube thumbnails in the past. So these are the settings I generally use to create a YouTube thumbnail. So here I use 300 pixels per inch for more pixel density and a 16-bit color scheme for more color range here. Now our canvas has been prepared. So let's create a solid color adjustment layer. I am choosing a gray background for more color visibility on the front. Now I have downloaded an image from internet. This is the image on a plain background. So if I drag and drop the image on a canvas here, we can see the background of image is also visible, and we have to remove the background here. So we can do this by using selection tools here, like rectangle selection tool, and then this quick selection tool, and also there is another tool, pen tool. I am using object selection tool to select the model. It will create a selection around the model. Now let's create a mask by using this mask button, and as you can see the background has been removed, but the quality is not that good. So we are going to try a different method which is very easy. So let's delete this layer and search remove.bg on your browser. This is the website. Let's open the website here. And now we are going to drag and drop the image on this website. The website is doing its magic and it has successfully removed the background of the image, and just download it and use this on the canvas. As we can see, the quality of background removal is way better than the Photoshop here. Also, let me share one thing. This is the you see that this rectangle here, I'm using this to resize our image. It is called transform tool, and these are some other options we can use here to transform our image in different type. We are going to learn more about the transform tool later. Now I have selected the brush tool here, and let's select a brush here and try to draw something. The solid color layer is selected here, so we can draw on it. So let's create a new layer. So the layers panel works like this. The layer on the top will be in the front. So if I'm doing right now anything on the canvas, it will be going to happen behind the model and in front of the background. So now we can see the yellow layer has been created behind the model. Now let's change the brush and change the color. As we can see, tool options can help us a lot in modifying and adjusting tools to our requirement here. So I'm going to just give a one dab of this brush, and it is looking good. Now let's do this one more time with a different brush. So you can select color in Photoshop by pressing and holding Alt at the same time, and then left click like I am doing, and you can select a color from the image itself. Let's select yellow color and do this once more, and that's it. And we have our background and model ready. Let's give a little shadow to a model. So let's create a new layer and select the black color. You can press D and it will change to default colors that are black and white, and you can switch to the background and foreground color by pressing X. Now I am drawing with the black color, and deselect by pressing Ctrl plus D here, and then go to filter and Gaussian blur and give it a blur effect so it will look like shadow. Now let's create our text box by using rectangle selection tool here. So I'm going to create a rectangle selection, and now these are the adjustment layers. So these are basically filters on layers. So you can apply a filter in a layer, and if you want you can turn off the layer and the filter will be gone. So we are going to discuss about that later. Let's create a red text box here, and now I'm going to resize it according to my requirement. And you can see I can resize the image normally, and if I press and hold Alt while resizing, this will happen. So you can use the Alt button according to your requirement. And now let's try a skew transform to give it a little effect here. As we can see, our text box is slanted at an angle, and now we are going to copy it. Now we are going to give a shadow effect to the text box. So all we have to do is change the color for the below solid color layer and then move it a bit, and it will give a shadow effect here. Now let's resize it again to our requirement. So I am selecting both the layers here so that they can transform at once. And now let's put our text. So I'm choosing the text tool here. You can do this by pressing T also. I'm going to choose a different font and different color for more visibility. And now we are going to transform the text to fit the background here, the text box. Now let's give a shadow effect to the text also. So I am copying the layers by pressing Ctrl plus J. So the layer selected will be copied if you do that. So I'm doing the same I did with the text box here. So it will give a shadow effect. Now let's create another text layer. I'm also going to resize this one. So as you can see, there are tools we are going to use a lot of time, as we need them at all time, I think. So I'm going to choose a different font for the thumbnail. You can select the text a normal way like you do in your mobile or like in Microsoft Word or any other thing. Now I have created another layer, and now you can see there is an icon appearing. This is happening because I am holding the Alt button here, and it will create a linked layer. So now the layer has been linked to the thumbnail text here. So if I do anything on the canvas by selecting another color, like I am selecting a bright green here, so if I draw anything, nothing will happen, and it will only affect the area of the below layer. So as we can see here, I have painted the thumbnail green. Now here let's create a selection of this layer. So you can create selection of any layer by pressing on the thumbnail, that is the T for the text layer, pressing and holding the control button. Now I'm sharing something about the mask here. So this is the mask. If you press shift and then click on the mask will appear. So the white area will be visible and the black area will be hide. So like, and if you draw anything on this black area by using a gray color or white color, it will be visible. So like I am doing on the mask here for this solid color layer, I am drawing with the white, and as if I turn off the mask here and turn on the normal layer, you can see the red color is now visible here. So now let's erase this by selecting the black color, and all you have to do is just select the mask and paint over it by using the black color here. As we can see, the area is not visible now, and I am also erasing the effect behind the text this. And now as we can see, our thumbnail has been prepared here. You may have observed that we have used some tools very like frequently, and some tools we haven't even touched, and we have created this thumbnail successfully here. Give a like to the video if you found it useful, and subscribe the channel for future videos from this series. I will be back with another interesting Photoshop tutorial with more tools explained and more Photoshop tips and tricks.